Hi there. I'm Osgood Perkins. I wrote and directed Longlegs.
And I'm Theo James, the star of Oz's upcoming movie, The Monkey, opening in theaters everywhere February 21st, 2025.
Thanks, everybody, for coming out tonight to experience this film on the biggest and loudest screen possible. Stick around after the credits roll for an exclusive conversation between me and this guy about the making of Longlegs,
as well as the very first look at a scene from The Monkey. You're not going to want to miss it.
See you after the credits.
See you then.
We'll see them after the credits.
Yeah, we will.
I will.
Well,
I was told to do that.
Yeah.
I was told to do
your
it.
fingers.
Just like this.
Great to see you, Osgood fan. I love your socks. And we are here to talk about your excellent seminal movie, Longlegs. Let me ask you some questions.
I'm going to answer your questions to the best of my ability, Theo James. Promise.
Tell us, where did you come up with the conceit?
The desire was to make something that was going to appeal to an audience. I felt like I'd made movies that sort of had little niches, and so I wanted to devise something that I thought people would actually truly enjoy. So it became about, well, it's going to be a horror picture, but what's the way in that's going to make people feel good? Like, what's the joy? And I felt like, oh, people love Silence of the Lambs, people love Seven, people love serial killer movies that are not really about serial killers. Like when we think about serial killer things, like real true crime things, so grisly. So I really just started to think about how would it go if I just started the movie as if it was Silence of the Lambs and see what happens if I just stay with it and let it sort of become what I want it to be.
Your interest in the satanic, right? That's the deepest well of darkness you can go to. How did that factor into where you were going to take this film?
The devil is sort of the effect of the devil. Right? Sort of like, what are the people who work for the devil? How's their life going? How are they doing? Like, and the idea around Dale Cobble, Longlegs, is that he's been in service of the devil, like it or not. It's not like a choice you made. This happened to him, and he's sort of been a dutiful soldier in the satanic army, and it sucks. And after a while, you kind of get tired of it, and you sort of start to get drained, and you lose the color in your skin. You lose the color in your hair. So we took the color out of Cage's hair, we took the color out of Alicia Witt's hair to give this quality of like the less of your vitality remains. And Longlegs was supposed to be this guy who shows up at your kid's birthday party. If your birthday party's sort of sad, he's sort of a showman. You know, I can imagine him in his car down the road, sort of looking in the rearview mirror and being like, getting ready for his performance. And in that was these sort of rehearsed sing-songy lines that he had. And one of them was this thing that people really latched onto in this movie, this "let me in now and it can be nice, and I'll come back as many times as I would like." Nick made it his own, and he sang it like that on take one. I never heard it. He'd never previewed that for me.
Cool.
So on take one, he sort of did the thing with his hands, and he sang the "let me in now and it can be nice."
Let me in now and it can be nice. Make me go now and I have to come back. Not once, not twice, but as many times as I like.
And he's, you know, obviously great at making bold choices.
He's having such a good time.
Totally.
He's playing.
But it's a fully evolved person within this kind of heightened nature of the character in a way, you know, the voice. You told me about, obviously the look was both yours and his.
On our first phone call, I sort of just blurted out, because it was true, I was like, it's T-Rex. So the glam rock element, the sort of tired, beaten up glam rock element was there. And then the voice evolved. You know, Cage and I had talked about making the character fresh. We referenced existing performances that are iconic, Buffalo Bill being the gold standard. He sent me the first voice memo doing Longlegs' voice at 4 o'clock in the morning on Christmas morning, doing all of the dialogue from the movie. Everything that...
All of it?
All of it. Everything that Longlegs says in the movie, he just did it in a run. I still have it on my phone.
That's amazing.
Daddy! Mommy! Make me! And save me from the hell of living!
The framing of just his mouth.
Yeah.
Was that, did you just find that?
Framing was written in the original concept as when this guy comes to your party, the kid sees him, and it goes into the kid's psyche, but the audience and almost the adults don't get to see him. It's that weird wishy-washy childhood memory thing where you can sort of remember something, but you know you're sort of making part of it up. And then of course he had this incredible chin and this look.
It seems I wore my long legs today. What happens if
Micah Monroe. I was really gratified by her willingness to play.
And the idea that she is, kind of telepathic, was that always in the script? Was that something that evolved?
For me, she was just kind of like right place, right time person when I first started doing it. And she was sort of intuitive, but maybe not special in any sort of way. Mm-hmm. But then as you start to articulate it, as the thing comes into focus, you start to have to name things. You have to say, oh, well, she's psychic. You have to kind of give it a thing. It was more karmic, to use sort of an exhausted word. But the choices that she makes are really just so beautiful.
You don't work alone, do you? Someone's been helping you. An accomplice.
Why don't you ask your mommy?
And Kiernan Shipka, obviously she had been in The Black Cat's Daughter. She's a great actress.
She is. She's fearless and such a pro. She's like this really beautiful machine that she can just do it every time. And so I had utter confidence in bringing her in and giving her this really impossible piece of material, which she did perfectly every time. In the editing room, I did a little trick where when she's being interviewed, I pitched her voice up so that it's a little bit higher than it should be.
Or if he told me to kill you right here in this room with my bare hand, I'd surely do.
And then when we cut into her past experience when she's narrating her family's slaughter, I pitched it up again. So when she's in her childhood narrating self, her voice is pitched up twice.
Papa was a good man. That's something I remember good.
And little things like that when you're making a movie are fun for the creators, and I think they land very subtly.
Mom always hated me because I'd come out wrongly when I was born.
Blair Underwood is a storied actor. Yeah. Tell us about him.
One of these guys who is so in control of the subtleties of their physicality. In the end scene, when he's possessed by the doll, all I really said to him is make it seem like there's really nothing wrong. Everything's fine. And when he stands up and he says,
"Would you like to join me in the kitchen, honey?"
I'm so sorry. I'll be right back.
No, I'll be right back. You'll still be in the kitchen.
That line just came out and I was like, well, that's really pretty funny. If you're connected to your material, you get to that point in the process, it just grows out of the ground. It just becomes, it's like, here you go. It's there. That's this thing.
Excellent. What are your kind of favorite audience reactions?
Someone cried a lot. And they didn't cry out of fear. It wasn't like that. At least that was, as it got distilled to me, it was like they cried because they looked into Longlegs' eyes. And they felt so much.
Jesus.
And I know, I was really like, oh, amazing. Like, sorry, you're welcome. Did you need to cry? I hope it felt good to cry. I found that what was really gratifying has been that younger audiences really soaked it up. And that feels great.
Hail Satan.